removed her. So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law. But if true, it could rise to the level of criminality. And, we'll see what happens or if the DA looks and investigates.
Interesting, because obviously this civil suit was coming for a while.
Yep.
And there was some talk between Busby and Jay-Z's lawyers. I think both Busby and Jay-Z's lawyers are really out.
After that major documentary comes out on Diddy, then you're going to start to hear more and more about Jay-Z and his nefarious past.
If that's part of the indictment, that's someone like a blackmail. He was blackmailing people to be in the freak-offs. So that's federal. That could be that's a federal charge. He can't blackmail people to say, yo, listen here, you did it once and you're gonna do it again. That ain't gonna make it with the government, no.
Federal agents weren't out to stir drama when they stormed Diddy's homes, but what they uncovered, total chaos, buried under the flashy lifestyle, gold-plated furniture, rare collectibles, and rooms packed with celeb memorabilia, was something way darker than anyone expected. We're talking hard drives, tapes, and digital files that could straight up ruin some of the biggest names in showbiz. And right in the thick of it, none other than Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
As far as, is he gonna turn people in? Is he gonna cooperate? If the federal government wants him to cooperate and they're gonna cut his time, because right now he's looking at 15 to life. With all the charges he has to, he won't get out till 70 years old. He about 70, that's when they start talking about letting him come to a.
The power couple, who've always kept their image spotless, are now caught in a scandal so intense it's shaking Hollywood to its core. The allegations, absolutely wild, but insiders started whispering the moment the raid went down. Homeland Security agents supposedly dug up footage from Diddy's private stash, clips so shocking, so straight up damaging that if they ever leak, careers could be over in a heartbeat. And guess what? The Carters' names are everywhere right now, getting tossed around like party flyers. The streets are talking, and the buzz is that Diddy's feeling seriously backstabbed by Jay-Z and Beyoncé for staying silent while his legal mess got worse.
He has to take responsibility for what he did as an individual. Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility.
Now, word is he's ready to scorch the whole scene. Sources are saying Diddy's holding on to some serious heat, evidence, receipts, the kind of stuff that could flip the entire industry upside down. If even half of this is true, nobody at the top is safe. Picture this, one of Diddy's ultra-private parties, the kind you can't just walk into. These are invite-only, top-tier events where only the most powerful names in music, movies, and pro sports make the cut. These folks have spent years, some decades, building empires and crafting perfect public images. But behind the glitz, behind those staged social media moments, something way more twisted was going on.
Jay-Z got his up by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got it after. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your whooped.
These weren't just wild celebrity parties. Nah, insiders say they were fully planned out setups, carefully controlled spaces where lines got crossed, limits disappeared, and people let their guards all the way down. Everything, and I mean everything, was caught on camera. But those cameras weren't there to capture fun memories. They were collecting dirt, straight up leverage. Now, word from behind the scenes is that these wild nights, now being called freak-offs by insiders, were more like traps than parties. Celebs thought they were safe, just hanging with other A-listers behind closed doors. But what they didn't know, or didn't want to believe, is that every little moment, every sketchy move, every risky convo was being recorded.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both.
And guess who's got those tapes now? The feds. The fallout could be historic. While no one's exactly sure why Diddy did it, a theory is spreading fast. He's trying to even the score. If he's going down, he's dragging everyone with him. Sources close to the case say Diddy might have turned over some of that incriminating footage himself, all to strike a deal and save his own skin. And guess who's at the top of that hit list? Jay-Z and Beyoncé. The so-called golden couple, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, depending on who you talk to, either backed away from Diddy the second things got hot, or worse, played him from behind the curtain. That kind of betrayal, it hits hard.
Scared of him. I think they more so, they don't want him to embarrass their reputation and things that they've been known for. You understand? I think that.
And if the whispers are true, Diddy's not just mad, he's out for blood, with a revenge plan that's cold, calculated, and straight up vicious. Just when things couldn't get messier, an old name resurfaces, Jaguar Wright, the bold, no-filter industry whistleblower who's been calling out the dark side of Hollywood for years. She's long accused the Carters of being knee-deep in a dirty system, one fueled by power moves, blackmail, and manipulation. Back then, folks brushed her off like she was just ranting from the sidelines. But now, people are listening, and Diddy's so-called receipts might be backing up some of her wildest claims. This whole saga's spinning out of control. It ain't just about wild parties anymore. The accusations go way deeper, like deep enough to shake the whole foundation of the industry. Sources say some of that recovered footage shows A-list stars in situations that could bring serious legal heat and destroy reputations permanently. The kind of scandal that no publicist could ever clean up. No statements, no denials, not even a slick Instagram post to shut down the noise. Jay-Z and Beyoncé have kept completely silent, but their legal team, they've been moving fast and furious behind the scenes. Beyoncé's lawyers are reportedly going full throttle, firing off cease and desist letters left and right, demanding interviews be wiped, and threatening platforms that so much as breathe the heavy accusations. They're trying to keep a lid on this boiling pot, but it's only making things explode louder online.
A blistering statement. Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away."
What was meant to be a damage control strategy is now backfiring in real time. The more they try to shut it down, the more folks start digging. And the internet, it's a full-on frenzy. People are picking apart every silence, every sidestep, every move the Carters haven't made. And the big question that won't go away, if they've got nothing to hide, why won't they speak? But here's the part that's really sending chills, whispers about minors being involved. Details are still murky, but even the suggestion has rocked both Hollywood and the public. Talk of underage guests being manipulated or exploited at these elite gatherings? That's the kind of claim that doesn't just destroy careers, it brings courtrooms into the mix. And if Jay-Z and Beyoncé really were at those parties, like some sources are claiming, their silence starts looking way more suspicious than just basic damage control. People aren't buying the quiet act anymore. They're wondering what it might be hiding. But that's not the only fire burning. The raid on Diddy's homes has dragged an old mystery back into the spotlight. Kim Porter. Diddy's ex and the mother of 3 of his kids. She passed away under circumstances that never quite sat right with a lot of people. Word is, before she died, she was working on a no-holds-barred tell-all that could have ripped the lid off the industry's darkest secrets. Now, insiders are saying Diddy's seized footage actually lines up with some of what Kim hinted at before her death. That's got folks asking, was Kim silenced? And if she was, who else could be in danger now that those tapes are in federal hands?
Just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it, it's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
And then there's Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles. She just got pulled into the mess too, even if it wasn't on purpose. She liked a comment on social media that mentioned the allegations swirling around Jay-Z. Just a tap, but it was enough to set the internet on fire. Tina later said her account was hacked, but by then, the damage was already done. People started speculating, pointing fingers, questioning where her loyalty really lies. But the real knockout punch might not come from social media or gossip blogs. It could come straight from the courtroom.
Of course, is more than annoyed would be an understatement.
Yeah.
He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down.
Word is, attorneys repping alleged victims are gearing up to drop major lawsuits. And they're not just coming for Diddy. The Carters and other big names who showed up at those shady gatherings might be on the list too. If the evidence is real, this won't just be a messy tabloid scandal. It'll turn into a full-blown legal showdown with serious consequences. As more people start coming forward with claims, the whole vibe is shifting. What started as wild celebrity gossip is now looking more like a deep-rooted case of exploitation and abuse. And still, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, they're staying stone cold silent. Their whole approach feels like a poker game. Every move carefully held back. But is that confidence or fear? Some say they're leaning on money, power, and industry ties to protect themselves from the storm. Others think they're gearing up for a legal war so massive, one wrong move could take them down. And just when you thought it couldn't get darker, there's talk that some of the footage is already slipping onto the dark web. Behind closed doors, private forums and shady networks are allegedly lighting up with screenshots and clips. But here's the twist that's really haunting. There's talk that these tapes might be duplicated and hidden away for good, out of reach from any lawyer or PR spin. That means no matter how rich or powerful the Carters are, they may never be able to erase this. At this point, it's not just about dodging lawsuits, it's about saving a legacy they've spent decades building. And day by day, that legacy is slipping through their fingers.
The allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right,
Just when you think it couldn't get darker, the spotlight has now shifted to the victims. The real people who allegedly got trapped in this twisted VIP world are finally starting to speak. And what they're saying? It's straight up chilling. One alleged victim has already filed legal documents, and her story is shaking folks to the core. She says she was invited under the promise of a music video audition. Sounded like a dream opportunity, especially since the invite came from someone deep in the industry with connections to both Diddy and Jay-Z. But when she showed up, that dream flipped into a nightmare. According to her, what was pitched as a career move was actually a setup. She claims she was taken advantage of by both men. And it didn't stop there. She says the event took place at a massive Miami mansion with creepy underground rooms that were strictly off limits to most guests. She says the moment she arrived, someone handed her a drink, and now looking back, she's convinced it was spiked. Not long after things started spinning, she got dizzy, disoriented. Then came the part that's got the whole industry on edge. She remembers being led into one of those restricted rooms by faces she recognized from the entertainment world. But everything started to blur. And what happened next? That's what her lawsuit is all about. We can't spell out the details here, but even the implications have been enough to rock Hollywood to its core. And the scariest part, she's not alone. Since the feds hit Diddy's properties, more than a dozen similar stories have come out. Different victims, same pattern, same location, same parties, and the same big-name celebrities being mentioned over and over again. These alleged victims say they were flown in from cities all over, promised fame, auditions, or music video roles. But instead of stardom, they say they were trapped in setups where their control, their choices were stripped away. Legal documents show some of them brought receipts, texts, photos, even medical records that back up their claims. Meanwhile, attorneys repping the alleged victims are putting together a brutal picture, a system built from the ground up to protect the rich and powerful no matter the cost. One lawyer, who's handled other high-profile abuse cases, described the whole thing as a fortress of wealth and influence. That's how locked in and untouchable this circle was, until now. He claims those behind these secret parties had everything locked down tight. They didn't leave room for mistakes. Any hint of a leak was shut down fast using NDAs, threats, or worse. But now that Diddy's private stash of tapes is in the hands of investigators, that so-called fortress is showing cracks and people are starting to panic. Let's break down these tapes for a second, because they're not just some side detail. They're the heart of this entire scandal. Insiders close to the investigation say these recordings don't just show random party footage, they expose a full system of exploitation. Think carefully planned setups with people being lured in, manipulated into staying quiet, and recorded the entire time. Even scarier, law enforcement sources say some of these clips include timestamps and metadata, hard evidence that shows who was where and when. That kind of digital footprint leaves almost no room to deny anything. And yes, word is, Jay-Z and Beyonce's names have come up in connection with those very same timestamps. Sure, their legal team is loudly denying any wrongdoing, but the silence from Jay-Z and Beyoncé themselves, it's screaming at this point. For a couple that's built their empire on being flawless, untouchable, and always in control, their refusal to speak is getting harder and harder to overlook. We're talking about two people known for perfection, iconic performances, polished interviews, and a level of privacy that's borderline obsessive. But now, that silence is cracking the image they worked so hard to protect. Fans are split. Some say they're being targeted in a smear campaign. Others are fed up and demanding real answers. Meanwhile, social media is on fire with theories and breakdowns. Why haven't they spoken up? Are they just stalling while their legal team cooks up the perfect statement? Or do they think staying quiet will make the chaos fade away? Whatever the strategy is, the public's not buying it anymore. People want accountability, and every second of silence is raising more eyebrows. The Carters are reportedly exploring every angle to protect themselves as the scandal spins further out of control. One insider even says they've considered flipping the script by going after Diddy legally, accusing him of launching a campaign to drag their names through the dirt. But here's the catch. Would that move blow up in their faces? If Diddy really is sitting on the kind of evidence people are whispering about, dragging him into court could force those tapes out into the open. And that's a risk Jay-Z and Beyoncé probably can't afford to take. A courtroom battle could end up putting all the dirty laundry on full display. And it's not just about them. The list of names allegedly caught on those recordings is growing fast. According to behind-the-scenes chatter, the footage includes a whole roster of A-listers from Hollywood and the music scene. This isn't just a Diddy and the Carters situation anymore. Whispers are flying in industry circles, and people are nervous. Nobody's going on record, but the fear is loud. Folks who used to be tight with Diddy are now doing a digital wipe, scrubbing their socials, erasing any trace of connection to him. Even LeBron James, who's reportedly been named in some lawsuits as a witness to what went down, has gone radio silent. It feels like the whole industry is holding its breath, just waiting to see who's gonna get exposed next. But this isn't just about a few big names getting caught up in drama. If the claims are true, and if those tapes are as explosive as insiders say, they could blow open a hidden world that's been thriving behind the flashing lights and red carpets for years. This goes way beyond individual reputations. What we're looking at could shake the very foundation of the entertainment world, a culture that's been called out for decades for covering up the truth, protecting the powerful, and silencing victims. But now, with federal investigators reportedly circling in on multiple suspects, this might finally be the moment that breaks the cycle. So what happens next? Will Jay-Z and Beyoncé finally break their silence and speak for themselves? Or will they keep hiding behind legal teams and carefully worded press releases? Is Diddy really holding the receipts that could take down some of the biggest icons in the game? Or is this all a last-ditch play from a man watching his empire fall apart? And what about the victims? Will their voices finally cut through the noise, or will they be pushed aside again by PR machines and celebrity spin? Let us know what you think in the comments. Drop your theories, reactions, and predictions below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next twist in this insane saga. This story's still unfolding, and we'll catch you in the next one.